Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Million Pound Mission Podcast. It's your buddy Adam, the PhD, the previously heavy dude, and this is episode number 296, Never Too Late Ever, with my friend Lorraine Hoving. And this is a great interview. Lorraine is awesome. She's full of energy and passion and positivity. You're going to love her. But first, I want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by my new free mini course, The 7 Necessary Steps for Long-Term Weight Loss Success. If you're somebody that is just sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, if you're sick and tired of losing weight and gaining it back and just feeling that epic battle that never seems to end, then this is a great starting point for you. Just go on over to millionpoundmission.com, snag the free mini course, The 7 Necessary Steps for Long-Term Weight Loss Success. I think you will dig it. I think you'll get some good traction and some motivation and inspiration out of it. So check it out. Now, let's dive into this week's episode. Do you guys ever feel like you have missed your opportunity to be healthy? I talk to people all the time, and they say things like, oh, I'm too old, or I'm too out of shape, or I'm too wrapped up in this busy lifestyle. You feel like there's no escape. Well, today, my friend Lorraine Hoving is here to tell us why we should never give up on ourselves and our quest to be healthy. Now, Lorraine started her transformation journey at the age of 60. That's when she started, people. And she's lost 125 pounds so far. She's out there inspiring others to do the same with her podcast. She does public speaking appearances. And like I said, she's just a ball of positivity, and you're going to love her. In this discussion, Lorraine and I talk about things like the moment that she decided to change her life for good and what was involved in that. We talk about the necessary mindset shifts that we need to have for long-term success with our transformation journey. We talk about the mental hurdles that she had to overcome by being a person in her 60s deciding to get healthy. And then she's got some great advice for anybody that feels like they've missed their opportunity to reclaim control over their health. This is a great one. It's the holiday season, people. It's time to get focused and really get fired up for the new year, because it's never too late ever to get healthy. So let's dive right into this one. It's episode number 296, Never Too Late Ever, with my friend Lorraine Hoving. All right, Lorraine, thank you for joining me on the Million Pound Mission Podcast today. How you doing, my friend?
I am doing fantastic, and I'm so excited to be here, Adam.
Well, this has been a conversation that's been a long time coming. We connected several months back at an event in Florida, and I love your energy. I love your story, and I feel like we just need to infuse some of that into the Million Pound Mission and add some value here today. What do you say?
Oh, I'm ready to go. I'm excited.
So I want to start off with your own journey, because that's where this whole story really originates, is your own journey of reclaiming your own health. So let's start there and build.
Okay. All right. So my journey started about 65 years ago, to be exact. I'm a week away from my 65th birthday.
Wow.
Yes. And so I was born in northern British Columbia. And so I would say my story about my weight loss is that when I grew up, very happy, energetic, fun-loving child until I was about 11. And at 11, my father, I still remember to this day, opening up the door and seeing a priest and a police officer. And at that moment, I knew my life was going to change forever. I was very, very close to my daddy, very, very close. We spoke the same language. We loved life. We loved people. And suddenly he was gone forever. And that devastated me. And not only that, I would consider that I was probably my daddy's favorite child. So there were 6 of us, but I didn't realize it then. But looking back, because we were so similar, we just got along. I woke up thinking of my daddy and went to bed thinking of my daddy, having a bowl of ice cream every single night with him. So consequently, my older brother, I think, probably had been jealous. And so he began a mission to tease me about absolutely everything. He was ruthless. Every move I made, I didn't dare eat a cookie crumb, or he'd scream it out in the front lawn or whatever. Whatever I did, he would tease. He chased me around the block with snakes. I mean, he was just ruthless. And so I began to hide. And here I've been this fun-loving girl. I felt like, now that I look back, that the little girl was taken away from me at that point. And so, I mean, he called me fatty, fatty. I was probably 5, 10 pounds overweight. And he called me fatty, fatty, 2x4, can't get through the bathroom door. And I remember as a child looking at that door, because we had a remodeled house, and the door was, narrow. And I thought, oh my gosh, what happens if that's true? I won't be able to get through the bathroom door. So he had instilled all these things in me. And I began to sneak food at the age of 11 or 12, because that was my comfort. My comfort was in the evening eating a bowl of ice cream with my daddy every single night. Every single night. I don't think we ever missed throughout the years from about 4 or 5 on. And so now I began sneaking it, because if I ate in front of my brother, he would tease me. So I remember taking down the little turquoise bowl down the stairs, listening to what stair was going to crack, so I wouldn't wake my brother up, and then hiding the bowl under my bed, and then sneaking up in the morning, washing it before he found out. Because you see, what you do in secret, you become as sick as that secret. So I had to hide, and I believe that I began putting on layers to hide. I lost the fun-loving girl was gone. I was afraid. I had also had a brother that had died suddenly when I was 5 years old, and I used to play with him, and all of a sudden he was gone because he had had a heart attack, and nobody told me not a heart attack, but a heart problem, and nobody had told me what happened. So suddenly I was afraid that my mom was going to die, my world was going to crush, and I was going to be left with his brother. And so that is where my story began. And eventually, I married my husband, and we've been married for 43 wonderful years. Well, almost all wonderful.
Mostly wonderful.
For those of us who are married, we all know what that's like. So, but 43 wonderful years for the most part. But when I married my husband, I had about 10 or 15 pounds on, extra on. And I said, okay, well, no, actually it was about 20 pounds. And I said, okay, I'm going to lose that weight by our first Christmas, which was our first Christmas together was 1976. But instead of losing the weight, I rose to my highest weight in my lifetime, married to my husband, to 275 pounds. Now, 275 pounds on a 5'1.5" petite frame is a lot of weight. And I carried a lot of pain. And so in this time, you can interrupt me anytime, Ann.
No, keep it going. This is good.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So during that time, had I lost weight? Sure, I had lost, I even lost 100 pounds at one time. But as soon as I started feeling like I was being seen again, I began to cover myself up again. I would purposely self-sabotage myself. I could feel myself doing it, that somehow I did not deserve to be slim. So when I turned 60, I realized I woke up on my 60th birthday in tears, because I suddenly realized if I was even blessed to live to be 90, all of a sudden, 2/3 of my life was over. So you see, I had promised my husband in 1976, and time ticks on every single day, no matter what we do. So all those New Year's resolutions, probably 40 of them, this is a year that I'm going to lose weight. This is a year, had gone. They were just gone. And I thought, Lorraine, what are you going to do? So this is one thing I did, Adam. I had never wanted to admit because it's such a horrible sounding word. I never wanted to admit that I was morbidly obese, because just even the word sounds horrible.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to look on my computer and see what morbidly obese means, even though I knew I was morbidly obese. But I was going to go see. It was almost like sneaking into my office and looking it up with nobody looking. I'm going to
Right.
find out but I knew in my heart. And of course, I was morbidly obese. So I went to the mirror and I looked at myself straight in the eye and I said, Lorraine, you are morbidly obese. What are you going to do about it? Because I could no longer blame my brother. I
Yeah.
couldn't blame that I lost my daddy. I couldn't, that had no relevance when I'm 60 years old. What am I going to do about this? So I knew that I had to do some healing from inside. So I had, like I said, I've lost a lot of weight. Put me on any diet and I'm an all or nothing. So when I'm on a diet, I can be as good as, I am religious, which can be a problem in itself.
Right.
You become religious. And if you eat a cookie crumb, then there goes the whole diet. And that has happened to me. So I knew that in order for this to be permanent, I had to do the work from inside out. It was never going to be permanent because I was going to always self-sabotage myself. Because somewhere in there, I believed I was not worthy of being healthy. So I went online right around my 60th birthday. I looked at different courses. I went out for coffee with somebody that had taken a course on kind of delving into your past. And I got on a plane, went down to San Diego, and went through about 4 months of going through some of your past and dealing with it and learning how to express your anger.
Yeah.
So I got to go in a room and express my anger to my brother. I was brought up in kind of a religious home. So you didn't kind of express that. If I had said that I was angry at my mom for not sticking up for me, it was almost like I was betraying my mom. But I got to say, Mom, I am angry that you weren't there when my brother was beaten up on me. You weren't there to protect me. And it was actually freeing to say, get the anger out instead of hiding it in a corner, feeling it, but not being able to express it. So I got to express it. And so they worked me through it. And then I got to forgive because my mom was a widow and had 6 children. So she wasn't really noticing what was happening. And so I worked it through. I worked it through with my brother, forgiving him because he didn't know. He was confused about daddy's relationship with me. So in that, I forgave others. But about 4 or 5 months later, somebody said, Lorraine, you haven't forgiven somebody. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm done. I'm empty. I've forgiven everybody. And suddenly, like a light bulb, I realized I hadn't forgiven myself. So you see, when I had 2 children, and this is where I needed to forgive myself, Adam, because I robbed them in some ways of a mother. I remember my husband's quite athletic and my children were. I remember going to a ski, I think it was Whistler. We went up and skiing and I just sat in the lodge and read. And I remember the time specifically saying to them, don't worry, I love reading and I made it all happy. But really what I wanted to do was be up there skiing with them. So there was forgiveness that I had to have for myself in realizing that I had robbed my children and my husband of some of the pleasure of having a healthy wife. And once that was over, like I've been set free because now I have a message. I have a message for people. My show on iHeartRadio is called Never Too Late Ever, because I want people to know it is never too late. But it's never too late until it is, because the time keeps ticking.
Yep.
And it's important to start today. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
It's an amazing story, and you hit on a lot of points that I talk about. Self-forgiveness. Not, so many people end up dealing with projection in a weight loss journey, and I've seen it happen to clients where I've been able to help them, but then things start to kind of go south in their life, and I get a lot of those feelings projected onto me as a coach, and he's the guy that's trying to make me do this or that. Or so being able to own your feelings. I always say the hardest exercise in the world to do is to take the finger of blame and from pointing it outwards to everybody else and accepting responsibility for your decisions, for the way you're fueling your body, the way you're treating your body. And you're a great example of just, accepting your situation, healing those wounds, being proactive about it, not waiting for someone to come and save you. You chose to be the hero of your own movie and taking life by the reins and owning your situation. So I think that's amazing. And now your message of never too late ever, that's needed, because I do feel like there are a lot of people that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond that are like, well, this game's kind of done for me. So what do you say to that population that may be thinking that? Because I get that a lot. I've got, some 60-year-old clients who are like, this whole working out thing, I'm past my prime on that, or, the healthy eating thing, I'm past my prime. What do you say to that demographic?
Well, I say that's bullshit. Because you are never past your prime. You aren't. I meet people now that are 90 years old that are inspiration to me. I met a lady that stopped by my house one day, and I was working out in the yard, and she had admired the landscaping we had done. And so she stopped, and I found out she was 90 and she walks 5 miles a day. So there is no excuse. And you pointed out something that I think is very important for the audience to know. There is no healing, I believe, until you take full responsibility for your life. When we constantly blame the trainer, the weather, the diet, whatever, we are looking outwards to fix something inwards. Until we take responsibility for ourselves, there will not be change. You can change for a little bit, but it'll all come back, because you're going to find somebody to point the finger out when things aren't going well. So yes, it's hard to get to a trainer. I don't love it. And I heard I heard Darren Hardy say the other day, Muhammad Ali never loved an early morning training ever. They said he hated them all, but he loved being a world champion.
Yep.
And that's what it is. You have to have the goal in mind. And yes, it is painful to go to the gym. I like it when I'm finished. I like how I feel at the end, but I have to convince myself to go. And that's something we have to do. We don't want to get out of our comfort zone. We get a little lazy. And when we get older, we just kind of, just forget it. But guess what? We can make a difference. We can live to a healthy, if God should, if we don't have a car accident or something, but we can actually help ourselves to live a healthy life and a longer life. It's something we can do something about. There are things that we can't do about if I walk out here and have a car accident, but I can do something about my health. So it's actually become exciting for me, because this is something I can own. And for the audience out there, I want you to know it is never too late. You can start today. You can start this minute, and they don't have to be gigantic steps. I started baby steps. And sometimes we think things have to be perfect. Okay, I have to have ate perfectly, done the exercise, meditated, done. We have this long list.
Yep.
And then if we don't do one of those, we just fall off the wagon. No, take baby steps and build on the baby steps, and then you'll build your confidence.
Yeah. And that's, a lot of people do get overwhelmed, right? They do feel like, oh, I've got to do this special diet and that special workout. And if I don't do any of this, I might as well not do any of it. Right.
Right.
So it's all or nothing. I call it transformation light switch syndrome. It's like light switch on if they're really turned on, and light switch off if a program ends or if something non-perfect happens. And that's just not how it needs to be. Now, with, with people that are out there dealing with situations like with you lost your dad. You couldn't help that. Your brother teased you. You couldn't help that, but you can control over how you are proactively healing with that. Right. So
Right.
let's say there's somebody out there in a similar situation. How do they kick off that process of like, okay, I need to start healing some of these wounds. I need to initiate some conversations where there's some hurt feelings or there's some, heart trauma that's, to deal with out there. So what kind of advice would you give to somebody that needs to do a little bit of healing?
Okay, so what I did is I just went to the computer and I started looking up classes, but then I also started some online classes too, where I didn't feel like I needed to go to San Diego, but I eventually went to San Diego. But I started some online classes. There's so much information out there about healing, and it doesn't have to be expensive. And books. Any of the Brené Brown books are really helpful. I've read a few of them on shame, on forgiveness. Excellent books. Mel Robbins. So if you are hungry enough, you are going to find a path. I would say also that has been revolutionary for me is being part of Weight Watchers. Now, I don't care what program you are on, but what is important to me is that accountability. So I began to keep going. I kept going to Weight Watchers even when I wasn't losing weight. I just kept going because I knew someday it was going to click.
Yeah.
And I had developed a few friends there that were becoming close, and we were becoming accountable. And eventually it clicked. So you have to also get into a group that is going to be helpful to encourage your personal growth. But I can't stress enough the importance of taking care. If you've got anger in there, anger inside of you, you have to deal with that, because if you don't deal with it, it's coming out somewhere. Yeah. And anger just leads into overeating, overindulgent on all kinds of things, because we're trying so hard to numb the pain. I also did this a little bit with wine, because I'm in real estate right now, and I would have a stressful day, and instead of going home and having one glass of wine, I'd have 2 or 3. So I just gave that up completely. But you cannot give up eating. So right. We always have to eat with control. So that's the difference. You can give up smoking forever. You can give up drinking forever. But it's the same form of numbing the pain. And until you deal with the pain, you're going to continue to self-sabotage yourself like I did. And so there is help out there. You just have to kind of find your path. And there is just like, there's coaches. I have a show called Never Too Late Ever that you can tune in, talking about taking steps and inspirational stories. But the thing that I will tell you is you have to dig deep inside you, care enough about yourself, put on your big girl panties or your big boy panties and go after it. Because I'm going to tell you, every person that's listening to this today is worth it. We are all intricately created. We are all individuals. So if you've had hurt in the past, you are still worth it. If you are damaged, we are all damaged in some way. You are worth it. You are worth your health. I guarantee you. And so does Adam.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, if we're speaking to anybody that's in the 50, 60 plus population out there, like, One of my greatest regrets, I was very, very close to my grandmother growing up. I went there to grandma's house for summer vacation. My parents both worked full time and she helped raise us. I was very connected to
Mm.
her. And we lost her when I was a freshman in high school. And one of my greatest regrets is never being able to have an adult conversation with her. So even if you're in that grandparenting age, like think about those grandkids and like who needs you to be around. Like if you have a hard time leveling up your own why behind, getting in shape, getting healthy, you know, I wish there was some sort of measurement that I'm sure it'll come in the future of, okay, you did this and you avoided having a heart attack, or you lost 30 pounds and now you won't get diabetes or a stroke. Like I wish we could measure that forward, but we can't. I think that would help so much because that would allow us to say, wow, I avoided a heart attack at age 60. Now I get to live to at least 70. I've got 10
Right.
more years with these grandkids that I want to see grow up and walk down the aisle and watch them have, babies of their own, things like that. So if you guys need to level up your why, think about if you haven't found it within you yet, maybe look at the people that need you to be around. And that's another important thing to consider.
Right, right. And when I speak, I speak at Weight Watcher groups and other groups, and I have this stat that I read, and it said for every 2 pounds overweight you've lost 3 weeks of your life expectancy. So when I speak, I say, so example, you are 40 pounds overweight. You have lost 3 years of your life. This is why this message is important, Adam. So I say to the audience, in 3 years, what will you have lost? Will you have left behind a spouse of 25 years? Will you have missed your daughter's wedding or your birth of your grandchild? Because oftentimes we think it doesn't matter. We just keep, every day we wake up, we put it under the rug. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. It is a big deal, and we need to translate it into what Adam says. We may, if we do not take care of it, especially as we get older, we may have diabetes or a heart attack, and we will leave behind people that loved us. And so part of I did the journey for me. I had to believe I was worth it, but I also did the journey for my husband. Here I have had a husband that has stuck by my side even when I was 275 pounds. He has loved me without a doubt every single of my day. He never made fun of me. He never complained. Did he want me to lose weight? Yes. I'm sure every single day he wanted me to lose weight, but he never nagged me. And I thought, what am I going to do to him? I'm going to die prematurely and leave him? How selfish was that? And I had to kind of turn around. I had to do it for myself, but in the end, I know that it's going to benefit my family, my husband, and all my friends because people love me. And we might as well prevent. If this is something we can do about it, we should start doing it today.
Yeah, the perfect time to start is now. People, you don't want to wait until. Yeah, I always say you got to find your why before your why finds you, because it's going to find you. So let's get started now, right? Right, Lorraine.
Exactly.
All right, so I want to pivot just a little bit because we talked before the show about kind of your latest adventure in your weight loss journey, and you had some surgery done. As you lose a lot of weight and at your height, we've got excess skin to deal with. If you wouldn't mind, let's talk about that just a little bit because we've never talked about that directly on the show. So I'd like to just kind of share your journey through that, your experience, and any tips, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are dealing with those issues that could use a little bit of guidance.
Right. Okay. So about 3 or 4 months ago now, I did have weight loss surgery for the extra skin around my tummy. It's not called a tummy tuck because that would be considered cosmetic.
Right.
This was covered by insurance, and in order to be covered by insurance, it has to be pretty bad, and it was relatively bad. They took off 5 pounds of skin, and it was uncomfortable. Having the skin was very uncomfortable when I'd bike, when I'd go to the gym, all of that. So this has been beneficial to me. It's part of my journey. I will say the recovery was longer than I had anticipated, and that's part, maybe my age. But I am so thankful that I've gotten it done, and it's like I still have 25 pounds to lose, so I'm still on my journey. But as I've been on Facebook, on social media, I've wanted to take my people with me on the journey so that they realize that so often when we see people, okay, now they're 115, well, they can't relate. Well, I can relate because I'm still going through the journey. And part of my journey was the surgery. And I'm thankful that I've had it. If somebody's out there and they need any, feel free to email me privately, and I can share some of my ideas on it. But that is something I had to do. And in some ways, people say, well, if you hadn't abused your body, you wouldn't have had to have that done. Yeah, true. But that does not lessen the fact that I wanted it done. And this is my journey. And we all do things on our journey that maybe we have to go back and clean up and whatever. But that's part of my journey. And I want to show people that the whole journey, it's not just that I'm suddenly 115, but I am still in the thick of it. Even when I get to be 150, I'm going to have to work on it. I'm sure, Adam, you know that too.
Yeah.
It's something we're going to have to work on the rest of our life. And so that was part of it. It wasn't necessarily an easy decision because it takes 6 weeks of recovery. And I'm a type A person. So for me to be laying on my back for that long, and you get to be up a little bit, but but I am so thankful that can be done because I'm much more comfortable.
Yeah. And everybody deserves to be happy in their own body, and that's part of it. You shouldn't have to deal. Like, it's not like, I don't know, with weight loss, I don't feel like you should be punished with skin if you don't want it. It's not like it's your badge of shame for gaining the weight in the first place or anything like that. Like, if it's impacting your quality of life and your confidence, then go out and get it taken care of. But like you said, go in knowing the facts and knowing that recovery is a legitimate deal. Like, everybody that I've talked to that's had skin removal surgery has always said the recovery was harder than expected. And, people deal sometimes with like things like infection or whatever, or, the healing just takes a little longer than expected. So just go in with a grain of salt. And I encourage you guys to reach out to Lorraine if you have questions about it. She's got firsthand experience.
And you're exactly right. You should never feel guilty about doing something that you believe is in your best interest. And that's what I believe, that I would live healthier with the surgery completed. And so often we allow others to make us feel shameful about this and shameful about that. Well, the greatest thing about getting older, Adam, is after a while you don't give a hoot what other people think. You really don't, because you have lived long enough to know that it means a big hill of beans if somebody doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, even on Facebook, if somebody doesn't like you, who cares? Yep. I have got people who love me, and I love myself, and I'm secure with who I am. And when you come from making decisions from that point, it doesn't matter what people say. We have given them too much power to make us feel shameful, guilty, whatever. But it doesn't matter. What is most important is you do what you believe is right for you and for your family. And that's where happiness lies. Forget it. Because what we do is we waste our energy on people that are they have no say in our life, and they're not part of our tribe or who we are.
Yes, nailed it. Lorraine, man, I knew that we were going to have a high energy interview because our personalities are so similar, except I'm about 1.5 feet taller than you. That's the only thing. So obviously we've piqued some people's interest on what you've got going on. If they want to reach out to you, listen to your show, if they want to dive into your universe a little bit deeper, where do they go to check you out?
Yes, my website is Lorraine Hoving, and that's spelled Hoving, it's LORRRAINE, Hoving, HOV, as in Victor, ing.com. And if you want to sign up for my email list, I will send you 10 tips to live an extraordinary life. It's not just about weight loss. A lot of it is about weight loss tips, but it's how to live an extraordinary life, because it's not just about weight loss, it's about our attitude. And it's about doing the inner work to take care of ourselves. And then I think the weight loss is a byproduct of taking care of our insides. So you can go there. And then my radio show called Never Too Late Ever is on iHeartRadio. So if you go on iHeartRadio and just plug that in, we have shows on everything. Like last month, no, actually this month, coming out next Monday, will be on decluttering.
Nice.
Yes. And then the end of July will be on how the brain works, which is fascinating to me. So we have stories on inspiration, you name it. Because it's life.
Yep.
And from every bit of life, I can suck some wisdom out of and help the audience with that. So I'd love to have some people come aboard the Never Too Late Ever show and get on my email list. I'm working on more speaking engagements, and I'm also working on an online course. So things are just fabulous.
Yeah, you guys, if you have speaking opportunities, if you put on events and you feel like Lorraine would be a good fit, just reach out to me. I'll get you connected. And I'll have all those connection points in the show notes and on the blog for you guys. That way, plug into her stuff. If you guys like my energy and my stuff, you're going to like Lorraine's stuff, because it's like similar vibe. She's real. She's authentic. She's going to tell you like it is and what she thinks. And that's the way that we get results, right? We learn from real people doing real things. So, Lorraine, I want to send our audience off here with a little bit of homework. All right. We've inspired them, but I like to end with action. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that you have really connected. Let's say there's one person out there that they needed to hear your voice today specifically. All right. And you've lit them up and they needed to hear what you just said. Maybe they've dealt with family members kind of bullying them or somebody else bullying them. Maybe they've dealt with a lot of loss and they have a lot of, that heart scar tissue built up that they need to take care of, and they need to put themselves first and start healing and getting healthy. If you could sit down and look at that person, look them in the eye, and just give them a little nudge in the right direction, what would you say?
So I love this, Adam, because when I do my radio program, I try and think of only one person out there, one person that needed to hear this today. And I know there is one person, and you are that person. And this is what I would say to you. If you have heard anything, if you have heard my story about looking in the mirror and facing the music and saying, I, Lorraine, am morbidly obese, this is the advice I'd give to you. If you are in that situation, look at yourself, be real, be honest, and begin the journey today. So if you are looking in the mirror, do not say, oh, I would avoid the mirror. Look in the mirror and take an analysis of exactly where you're at. And if you need to lose weight and you are morbidly obese, there is no tomorrow. It starts today. And this is what I would tell you. If you were sitting in front of me right now, I would say you are intricately valuable. Your family loves you. They need you around, and you need to value yourself. And when you value yourself, you will begin the journey. And this is what I would tell you. Go to the computer. I went to the computer. Find books to read. Find a group, whether it's Weight Watchers, find some accountability, but you can do this. If I've lost 125 pounds with a little bit more to go. If I've done this, you can do it. Adam knows if he did it, You can do it. It's the truth. I used to watch people that had done it before, and I thought, well, I can't do that. That's, I'd study before and after pictures, and I'd read their story over and over again. Guess what? I am one of a before and after, and I believe in you. You can do it. Get up today, get off the couch, and start taking baby steps, start reading, start finding an accountability, and start eating different. You know what to do, because Adam knew what to do. I knew what to do all my life, but I never ever felt value. You are valuable, and I believe in you, and Adam believes in you. You can do this. And email Adam or email me if you need to reach out and need some encouragement.
Yes, Lorraine Hoving. Thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. I knew that we were going to have a great conversation, and I can't wait to see what you do next, my friend. I think that you've got special things in store for you. So thank you so much for your time today, Lorraine.
Thank you, Adam. It has been a joy, and I have looked forward to this. I keep saying, "Oh, Adam on the schedule, yay!" Because we can relate. We know, isn't it true, Adam? If you did it and I did it, our audience can do it.
Exactly right, my friend. Well, everybody, I know that you're fired up by now. We've given you several things to think about, and I want you to set that implementation alarm. Whenever you're listening to this, set that phone alarm for 24 hours from now. I want you to implement one thing. Knock over the first domino, create momentum in the right direction, because that, my friends, is how we get out there and own it every meal, every workout, every day. And I will see you on the next episode. Well, hey there, good looking. I want to say thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Million Pound Mission podcast. And I've got a favor to ask you. If this episode made an impact for you, would you share it out with one person? Help me spread the message of the Million Pound Mission and add some fuel to the fire of our goal to achieve 1 million pounds of amazing results. And speaking about that 1 million pounds, if you haven't gone to millionpoundmission.com lately and donated your weight loss, please do it, or I'll never reach my goal. So head on over to millionpoundmission.com, donate that weight, and spread the word that we are on a 1 million pound mission together.